Hello? Okay, it works. Sorry. Good morning, everyone. Uh, Happy Friday. Okay, we are here for, I'm sure I don't have to tell you what we're here for. But anyway, let us observe the formalities. We are here for the public forum with the nominees for the fourth Chancellor of the UP Open University. My name is Patricia Arinto. I'm the chair of the search committee. I will introduce the search committee members shortly, but first I would like to acknowledge the presence of our staff regent, Alex Mejia. Sir, thank you for coming. Chancellor Grace Javier Alfonso. We do okay. Pro- uh, Professor Emeritus. Iniisip ko kung ano yung designation eh. Okay, ang dami kasi sir. Professor Emeritus Felix Librero. Our Vice Chancellors are here. Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Melinda Lumanta. And I am missing the other Vice Chancellor. She has just walked in through the door. Vice Chancellor Jean Saludades, Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration. And of course, okay, anyway. And I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the search committee in full. First, the representative of the president of the search committee, Dean Isabelita Pabuayon of the College of Economics and Management, UP Los Baños. Associate Professor Joan Serrano of the Faculty of Management and Development Studies. Assistant Professor Roberto Figueroa of the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies. Uh, Ms. Rona Marie Verenia, representing the Research, Extension, and Professional Staff sector. Ms. LV Pamulaklakin, our cashier, who is representing the administrative sector. And Ms. Annalyn Morales, our student representative in the search committee. Annalyn is a student in our Master of Environment and Natural Resource Management program. Okay. And of course, to all of you, our friends and colleagues in UPOU, thank you so much for coming. Although I rather think you wouldn't miss this for the world. Uh, this doesn't happen all the time. I've introduced everyone. Now I should the flow. Okay, before I kasi baka we might run out of time and I might forget. This is just to remind you of the of the activities, no, the schedule of activities or the timetable that we have for the search. As you will recall that. Nominations were accepted until November 24, and then uh, immediately thereafter, we on November 25 we had the public forum where Chancellor Alfonso gave us the incumbents report of the state of the university. That was web streamed, and anyone who wants to view it again, I think we have a recording if you missed it. And then we gave our nominees. There were originally 3 nominees. O, di na-intriga kayo. Sino yung pangatlo? Uh, there were originally 3 nominees and they were requested to submit their acceptance or either way, no, if they were accepting or not accepting, to let us know in writing by December 1, 12 noon. And if they were accepting, if they could submit their vision paper and summary of achievements, no. Uh, we did receive this on time from 2 nominees, whom I will introduce shortly. But I want to just remind everybody that copies of all of the relevant documents were disseminated to all of you, right? So you have read both the short and the long CV of the nominees and the vision papers as well. And then we are here today for the public forum where our nominees will present their vision papers and we can have an exchange of ideas with them. You can ask questions afterwards. And then we will have our we have 2 sets of interviews with UPOU constituents. No? One here in the headquarters on December 8th. That's Tuesday next week from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. And the venue is Oblation Hall. So for those of you who are based here and you would like to meet the committee and say something uh, privately to us, you can do this individually or in groups. Okay. And then on December 15, Tuesday, the next Tuesday, also from 1 o'clock to 4 p.m., there will be interviews with UPOU constituents in Diliman for those who are based in Metro Manila, including Manila, the UP Manila campus. The venue is the Multimedia Center Theater on the third floor of the National Computer Center, no, where we have our offices in Diliman. And then finally, on December 16, we have the interviews with the nominees here at the conference room of the Office of the Chancellor. This is from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Um, the schedule for the search committee is to submit its report to the President of the University of the Philippines on January 8th. Okay, and you've all read that memo from the President. It indicates January, the last week of January as the date of the meeting of the Board of Regents to confirm the outcomes. Okay. And you're also familiar with the procedure for the for the search process. Now, may I before basically the flow is like this. I will introduce the nominees one after the other. I'm following an alphabetical order by surname. Okay, and then we will ask the nominees, also following that sequence, to present their vision of UPOU to us, one after the other, and then we will take questions. Already, just to inform everyone, already we have several questions that are written on pieces of paper that were submitted to the committee. And in fact, if you were walking in through there, you might have noticed the box for those of you who would rather write your question instead of posting it personally here during the forum. However, that is also still an option for everybody. What we can do is, because there are rather so there are many questions, it seems. The committee has clustered them already. So for those questions that were submitted in writing, Assistant Professor Bobby Figueroa and Associate Professor John Serrano will take turns reading groups of questions, which will then be answered by the nominees in turn. No? So at that point, I will cue the nominees with regard to if it is a question addressed to both of you, then I'll cue you in terms of who goes first, kasi pagpapalit-palitin natin para hindi naman kayo, so kung nauna si Professor Bandalaria dun sa unang set of questions, sa susunod na set si Dr. Divina Gracia naman ang ating pauunahin. That is for questions that are addressed to both. There may be questions that are addressed specifically to a nominee, in which case, obviously, the nominee will address it. And then also to manage the time, we will pose questions in clusters, in groups, no? So even from the floor, rather than may magtatanong na isa and then sasagot, maubusan tayo ng oras kasi. At para marinig na din nung nominee yung lahat ng, kasi you can also group your answers depending on what you think is the priority question, no? So I will call on several people to first pose their, siguro 3 at a time, no? Siguro naman our short-term memory can handle 3 questions at a time, right? I mean, 7 daw yun 7 ang kaya ng short-term memory. Okay, now let me introduce our nominees in alphabetical order by surname. We have 2 nominees because the third nominee declined. So our first nominee is Professor Melinda de la Peña Bandalaria. Okay. Who is professor and dean of the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies of UPOU, so quite well known to all of you. She is completing her second term as a dean this coming March 2016. Prior to that, she served as a university registrar of the UP Open University for something like 9 years, from 2001 to 2010. And then previously, she was director of the Office of Student Administration when UPOU still had such an office. I don't know if you remember. And also, prior to that point, she was assistant to the dean of the School for Distance Education, Los Baños, when UPOU was still organized into schools rather than faculties. Um, in terms of her scholarly work, Dr. Bandalaria has published 4 book chapters, 8 articles in technical journals, 2 popular articles. She has read quite a number of more than 40 papers in academic conferences and fora. And she has been involved in at least in 18 major research activities, either as lead researcher or co-researcher in the following areas: teaching and learning strategies using computer tablets, learner support services for distance e-learning students, attrition in distance e-learning, learner satisfaction, and teacher professional development through distance and e-learning. She has spearheaded as project leader the implementation of 6 UPOU projects, including the development of course materials and offering of courses under the massive open online course, massive open distance e-learning model or program of UPOU, specifically for the business process outsourcing sector or industry, and for child rights protection and promotion with UNICEF. She has spearheaded a project on digital literacy training for public high school teachers, students, grassroots women, senior citizens, as well as teacher professional development for teachers in public secondary schools through open and distance e-learning. She's currently also chair of the Philippine Community e-Center Network. She has initiated a number of partnerships, as can be gleaned from the previous set of achievements I read, specifically with UNICEF Philippines, Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company, Smart Communications, Intel Philippines, Quezon Power Philippines, the local government of Mauban, the Office of Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, the Office of Congressman Mark Enverga, the Department of Education Division of Quezon, TESDA, the Technical Education Skills and Development Authority. Got that. And the Information and Communications Technology Office, or ICTO, the National Computer Center of is it still the CICT? No more. Okay, telecenter.org as well, no? So generally, all of these through all of these efforts, Dr. Bandalaria has made possible, has brokered the transfer of funds to UPOU and the UPOU Foundation amounting to more than 45 million during the last 10 years. Most of these to establish scholarship programs for qualified UPOU students. Um, and in terms of grants, awards, she was UPLB's outstanding alumna. She received the UPLB Alumni Association Outstanding Alumna Award in 2014. She was also the outstanding alumna of the College of Development Communication, also of UPLB in 2014. And she in 2013, she received the UPOU Gawad Chancellor sa Natatanging Guro. And in terms of academic qualifications, Professor Bandalaria has a Doctor of Philosophy in Development Communication from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, a Master of Science in Development Communication, also from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture from the same university. Our second nominee is Dr. Louis A. Divina Gracia. Okay, sir, you might want to, okay, all right. Dr. Divina Gracia has over 30 years of leadership and academic experience, including management of higher education in Indonesia and the Philippines. He has undertaken research, action research, project management, and finance and administration of nonprofits in Southeast Asian developing economies. He has mentored students from the United States, Indonesia, China, including Taiwan, Thailand, Malaysia, the Philippines, Korea, and Sri Lanka. He has packaged and managed continuing education programs for professionals from Nepal and Bangladesh. And he has organized and managed Southeast Asian study visits of undergraduate students from Australia and graduate students from the United States. He has provided professional expertise on projects supported by the following regional organizations on academic, scientific, action, research, and management related issues: the Asian Productivity Organization, the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, the ASEAN Foundation, CIMEO, CIRCA, CIMEO, the CIMEO Secretariat, the ASEAN University Network Graduate Business and Economics Programs, the Pacific Asia Consortium on International Business Education and Research, and the Association of Deans of Southeast Asian Graduate Schools of Management. Uh, Dr. Divina Gracia has a civil service eligibility, is also a PRC licensed agriculturist, and a career service of professional agricultural officer. He served as executive director of the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Center for Technology Exchange and Training for Small and Medium Enterprises. And his expertise has been engaged on development projects funded by USAID, the Asian Development Bank, the European Union, the UN Development Program, UNDP, and World Bank, among others. In terms of academic leadership experience, some of us in this room will recall that Dr. Divina Gracia served as Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration of UPOU uh, in 1995, I think, until maybe 97, but I can't, hindi kami nag-abot. And in UPLB, he served as a special assistant to the Chancellor for Finance, the Director for Business Affairs, the Deputy Director at the UPLB Foundation. He was also Program Development Associate at the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Planning and Development and Chair of the Department of Management at the College of Economics and Management. Um, after something like 20 years at UPLB, Dr. Divina Gracia moved on to serve as Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of the Faculties of Business, Law, and Creative Industry at Universitas Pelita Harapan in Surabaya, Indonesia. He was visiting scholar and recipient of the International Teaching Award for Summer Sessions 2006 and 2008 at the Schindler College of Business in the University of Hawaii, and he was USA Faculty Exchange Fellow at the University of Queensland in Australia. He has been director of the Doctor of Business Administration and the MBA programs, academic programs, and research and professional development programs at the Graduate School of Business of De La Salle Professional Schools, as well as the Dean of the Graduate School at the Lyceum of the Philippines University in Cavite. And he has also received international fellowships and grants, various academic awards for teaching excellence, and academic awards for research and outstanding academic achievement. And during the past 18 years, he has co-written and written more than 50 scientific papers, half of which have been published internationally and nationally in refereed and academic-related publications, and one received the Outstanding Paper Award in an international scientific conference. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, those are our nominees. You also have copies of these if you want to go over them again. So now may we invite our nominees to take turns presenting their vision. Let's begin with Professor Melinda de la Peña Bandalaria.
Okay, to our staff regent, Sir Alex Milla, Chancellor Grace, Chancellor, parang gusto kong kumanta kasi pag ganito. Chancellor Grace Alfonso, the chair and the members of the search committee, and fellow nominee, Sir Louis. Nice to see you again after so many years. Officials of the university and colleagues at UPOU. Do we have some friends here outside UPOU? Yes, of course, I have recognized our staff regent. Yes, it's so nice to see everyone here on a Friday. And it also indicates the kind of interest that everyone has in the process that we are having since November. I mean, we've been expecting this process to happen. So today, as expected or as scheduled, the nominees are to present our vision statement, what we envision the university to be after 3 years, if we will be chosen to lead this university in this very crucial, the strategic position of UPOU, our position in the country, our position in the region. So it will really, it's really, the time is something like crucial both for UPOU and for UP. So muli, magandang umaga. And before I present my vision, gusto ko rin magpasalamat doon sa mga nagtiwala at naniwala na kaya kong pamunuan ng universidad sa susunod na 3 taon. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. So, this is how I envision the university to be in the next 3 years. So when UPOU was established in 1995, it was envisioned to be at the forefront of the knowledge society as a leader in open learning and distance education. For so many years, for 20 years, our eyes, our direction was guided by this vision of UPOU establishment. Nothing has changed in this vision, just our trust and programs to make this vision a reality. So we were guided by this vision, and okay. The UPOU has committed itself to the use of ODEL framework in delivering instruction, a framework which resulted from the convergence of open learning philosophy. Of course, we're all familiar with that. Principles and concepts of distance education. We've been through the various stages of distance education and the pedagogy and mechanisms of online learning or e-learning. It is also a framework powered by the sound use of information and communication technology. So in everything that we do, something like we occupy. It's not enough that we do things, but what is the added value of using the modern or even the traditional information and communication technology to make ODEL a reality in various contexts. So in order to maximize the affordances of ODEL, and capitalize on the foundations we had built so far, UPOU can pursue the following 9 action points during the next 3 years. First is the push for more openness and sharing. UPOU programs and courses fall on different points of openness continuum. Each exhibits at least one or a combination of the different aspects of openness, like the use of OERs in the course materials, so learners can access them for free. I remember in one conference that we attended, the speaker mentioned something that much as he wanted to search for more materials, laging humihingi ng bayad pagka mga magagandang materialis na yung kailangan. So our advocacy is really to use open, quality, credible, open educational resources which our learners can access for free. Open admission or no admission requirements for those who are interested to learn. Open schedule or on-demand course content, self-paced. They determine whether they want to do everything now or schedule their activities over a period of time. Open option for technology use. So learners can access the courses using whatever technology is accessible to them. So we can even use our mobile phone, PC, tablet, and in the recent conference that we attended, the AAOU 29th conference, there was a mention of the second coming of radio and television and even print, so that we can really have this equity in access to education. Also, we will make available multiple paths to learning, um, like through video or podcast or text and language or dialect option. We have started pursuing this, and in fact, in the open courses that we are having now, we are already having this option for the different media formats. The next step is for us to really look into that, whether the student wants to learn in Filipino or in English, or even in local dialects for some of our courses. To push for more openness, UPOU can pursue more vigorously the MOOCs for credit move, increase the number of MOOCs or model courses that we are offering that are part of a credit course, increase the level of OER use in our teaching, and increase in the number of MOOCs that we are offering that are strategically positioned to reach specific groups or sectors and to achieve specific goals. Some of the groups whom we can target for our UPOU model or MOOC courses are the school leavers. If you will look at the data, we can classify our target audience as those who have graduated from high school, college dropouts, those who are still unemployed after college graduation, even OFWs who are wanting to go back home. Ito yung sinasabi namin when we were starting our tie-up with our BPO partners. Sabi namin, bring home our OFWs. So we already started our campaign for that. These OFWs who need to prepare for their reintegration into the Philippine workforce or to become entrepreneurs. Tayo ng business kasi may pera naman sila. PWDs and elderlies who still have the capacity to engage in gainful economic activities, and professionals who either want to shape careers or advance their knowledge and skills for the work that they are currently doing. Also, in Kuala Lumpur, we have witnessed the gathering of those who are preparing for their retirement, or and something like, I mean, we can position Odell in this context, and how we can still reach the grassroots. I mean, they had this meeting and they are now really planning for these things, and Odell can really play a very, very critical role for this, even the seniors, the elderly, and how we can promote and help even the marginalized sectors of our community. Sasama din kami dun, ma'am. And it's an international thing, ha? To further promote equity and access to education, yes, I have mentioned the multiple paths to learning via the different media. This will also address the still prevailing digital divide in the country. We know, as I have discussed this with the Chancellor, we've been talking about our MOOCs, our online courses, but we have to realize that we still, many of our communities still face the digital divide. So how can we really make them, how can we still really anchor them to the kind of courses that we are offering now? So that has to really be addressed if we are to really look into the equity of access. So these courses are for free, but if they don't know how to do internet, if they don't have access, then our courses will still be inaccessible for them. So our courses, like those on child rights protection and promotion, really have to be uh, um, accessible to the grassroots, interlocal cooperation, organic farming. Is Dean, nandito ba si Dean June? Dean June is here. Sir, um, NEP and PED, to name a few, can be the starting points toward this endeavor. With regard sharing, simultaneous with our maximum use of OERs in our courses, we should also develop our own OERs, even our students, and contribute to the enriching of the digital world with credible resources. Moreover, Section 12 of RA 10650 mandates UPOU to share what we are doing, how we are implementing the different subsystems of ODEL, and also the knowledge products that resulted from our work. Sharing can also be operationalized through publication. Of course, we've been doing that, but we have to increase our publication outputs. And these other research dissemination activities like presenting papers in conferences and serving as resource persons in academic fora. May I also mention at this point that we are also getting recognition for our paper presentations outside the country. International conferences just recently, Ms. M. Samolosa paper was conferred the Excellent Paper Award in Singapore. That was last week. And we at the AAOU 2015, the 29th conference, we also bagged the Silver Award for our Young Innovator, Assistant Professor Rain Pugoy. Si Rain pang tatlo ka na. So the first was Al Francis, Assistant Professor Al Francis, and Assistant Professor Ria Borromeo. And there had been efforts already from these universities, itong mga universities na to collaborate with us. Ina-approach na po tayo nitong mga to, asking us to work with them. For me, that is really a recognition of what we can do, not only in the Philippines, but also in the region, and for us to really grab this opportunity for more collaboration with our with other universities. Kasi technology kasi. But aside from FICS, we also have best papers. Our papers have also been listed for the best paper award. I think coming from FMDS and FED last year, we have two, I think, from FED also. So kailangan lang nating ituloy yung ano natin, yung ginagawa natin. But it's also important, together with our push for more openness and sharing, to also think of sustainability models. Kasi when we look at the, how do you call that, the opportunity cost, I mean the lost income because we are offering things for free, we also have to think of sustainability models. We have to think of how can we sustain these initiatives so that we can continue doing it. Kasi it's not enough that we introduce these things. Aside from introducing all these initiatives, opening access, sharing, etc., we also have to think what sustainability models can we develop so that we can continue doing these things. For number 2, okay, codify the quality assurance framework for ODEL. I said codify because we are doing some of them. We have concepts of what constitute quality in the different subsystems of ODEL. Some we practice, others remain as concepts. Pero alam natin, may alam tayo we know what should be. We know what should be, but we need to codify them. So codifying the concepts and practice of quality becomes more necessary now with the implementation of RA 10650. I think the IRR will soon be released, so we really have to be ready for this, where UPOU must perform lead functions in tasks that are aligned with identified domains or pillars of quality in ODL. These domains include course materials, teacher and university staff, IT resources, learner and faculty support. You have to take note that I included learner, not just the learner support. Research, academic references or access to academic references, teaching, curriculum, instructional design or the learning design, and evaluation or assessment for and of learning. In codifying the QA framework for ODEL, various levels can be considered. I mean, we can add to the already identified domains like course at the level of course completion or attributes, program attributes, and at the institution level. Likewise, other domains or quality of indicators can be included: level of use of OERs, level of internationalization. The university is really pushing for this. Pedagogical soundness of the design for learning, the facilitation of the different types of interaction we deemed necessary for the social construction of knowledge, like the learner-teacher interaction, learner-content interaction, learner-learner interaction, and even the integration of our learners to the community of practice. There has to be the kind of thing that we need to consider in our courses. And the areas of research pursued as they relate to the overall trust of ODEL. It should also be noted that a fully developed and codified QA framework for ODEL will also address the lingering perception that BE or online learning is a second-class instruction when compared with the residential. And the credentialing concern or recognition of the certificates or statements of accomplishment that we issue to our MOOCs or model completers. It's really still a common concern now, not only for UPOU, but all the other open universities. This lingering perception that second class lang tayo, etc. But if we can show that we have the QA framework and that it is at par, ano nga sabi ni John Daniels, face-to-face instruction is not in any way better than online instruction, and that is something that we really have to show them. I mean, we have to have something to show them that face-to-face is not in any way better than the kind of instruction that we do. For the third action point, increase student population and course and program completion rates. Frankly, I know that when I was drafting this vision statement, I was really thinking whether I will include this action point. But I think I cannot also deny the fact that ever since mula nung maging director ako ng OSA hanggang maging registrar ako, this has been my advocacy, and I've been really working to increase our student population. And I know that we can still do better with the current population that we have, and even improve the profile of our students, where they are coming from. Because if we will look at the profile, most of them are still coming from Metro Manila. And I know we can do better in terms of reaching those from the marginalized areas. We are improving, but efforts should continue toward this end. So I have included this because as a university, one of our primary functions is still instruction. Therefore, we can measure our strength as a university by the number of students enrolled in our courses and programs. Take note that I am referring not only to the degree programs that we have, but this will also include our MOOCs or model courses, and increasing the quality. Hindi ko alam na meron palang time limit. Sorry. So, uh, increasing the student population. Kala ko kasi unlimited na time. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so hand in hand with the increase in student population, there should also be the increase in course and program completion rates. So kailangan tingnan din lahat 'yon. For number 4, we have also to develop the learner support system appropriate for ODEL. Our instruction has developed from the first generation distance education to the current system of ODEL. But unfortunately, our learner support was not able to catch up with how we deliver instruction. Fortunately, though, our staff are well grounded with how we do ODEL. So from time to time, may mga mangangailangan na support ng estudyante, our staff was able to deliver. But we really need to have a complete framework for that. We also need to look into the affordances of modern ICT so that we can really have some automated things. Yes, like apps to remind the students that, hey, these things, document tracking system, which they can access through their mobile devices. So sabi ng mga taga-FICS, marami na naman kaming gagawin dito. But we really need to have these things if we are to increase our student population. Achieve administrative efficiency. Again, if we are to increase our student population, if we are to do the things that we need to do, especially with RA 10650, we have to have this administrative efficiency. We already have EUP. Siyempre, may mga magtataas ang kilay. But marami tayong pwedeng kuhanin sa EUP which we can use. And which, kung ipapractice natin, hanapin natin nasan yung gaps. Nasan yung gaps? How can we contextualize what we have at EUP for ODEL, for our context? And if there are gaps, punuan natin. Yun yung kailangan natin gawin. But the idea, I think, and I still believe that the idea for EUP is for this. And we really have to look into this possibility of using it and inculturating the whole university for this. Otherwise, mahihirapan tayo. Increase student and alumni participation in university activities. Ang isang problema natin, even before, when we started at UPOU, student engagement, we have to keep our student motivated. We have to keep them engaged in not only in their learning, but also in student activities, the sense of belonging, so that they will feel na, okay, I am a student of this university, I am not alone, there is a university where I belong, there are peers, there are fellow students with whom I can communicate, etc., etc. alumni participation. Let us change the notion that our alumni are just there for financial contribution. Marami silang pwedeng gawin in our context. They can be our proctors. We've been tapping UP alumni to proctor our exams, where sit-down exams are still required for some courses. Yung mga thesis advisor natin, di ba? Kapag contextualize yung kanilang mga ginagawang research, we can tap them to be part of our advisory committee for our students. Again, they are our stakeholders. It's not, hindi natin pagkatapos nilang gumraduate, they are also lifelong learners. And yung pag-graduate nila should not signal the stop of their being involved in the university activities. Promote staff welfare through good work-life balance. Sabi nila kanina, yes, kasi ang dami nating ipinapagawa. I know I've been hearing comments from our people, hindi natatapos ang trabaho natin. Pagkatapos ng anniversary, may graduation, may enrollment. Ilang beses tayo mag-enrollment sa isang taon? 3 beses. 6. Hindi, 5. 6 kasi may summer. O, so 6. 3 trimesters, 2 regular semester, and summer. Tapos ilang tayong beses mag-conduct ng admission exam? 3. Hindi, 5. Kasi meron kang ugat, GAT, and yes. So, and then, pag nag-admit ka na estudyante, may kaakibat na, na dagdag trabaho lagi yon. So, pero at the same time that we ask our students, yes, tapos ang dami-dami pa nating mga ginagawa outside. So, at the same time that we are asking our staff to do all these things, we should also think of their welfare so that they can continue working for the university. Katatapos lang ng anniversary, may graduation, may etc., di ba? Ang dami nating ginagawa. We should also think of the welfare of our people. We should also, yes, contribute not only to their professional development, continuing staff manpower development. How else can we help them? Mga opportunities for additional income, traditional projects, etc. Marami. And then yung promotion ng kanilang health. We know that there are sabay hawak ng coke. We know that there are initiatives. May volleyball, may badminton, there was a time may Zumba, there was a time may Tai Chi. But these are individual initiatives. We have to think of how we can really integrate them to the regular thing that we do, and really force our people to be part of whatever it is that will interest them and will promote their well-being. Yung health at saka yung balance. Nag-enjoy ka sa trabaho mo, but at the same time, na-address natin yung well-being mo. So, kailangan natin i-address to. Sa dami ng ginagawa natin, we need to do this. Harness the potential of partnership and linkages. Alam natin ang istorya ng universidad ay istorya ng partnership, istorya ng pakikipagtulungan, lalo ngayon na sabi natin na hindi na uso yung we are alone. The power now is to collaborate, and to enrich what we are doing, we really need to collaborate. Marami tayong ginagawa ngayon na mas nangangailangan tayo ng additional resources, mas nangangailangan tayo not only in terms of financial resources but also in terms of manpower. And we can only do this if we will collaborate. Maraming organisasyon, lalo ngayon, na gusto makipag-collaborate sa atin. Pero kailangan din nating piliin sino ba yung kailangan nating kausapin, kailangan nating makipag-partner. And we can also look at it in terms of, I would like to relate it to that action point on increasing student population. If you will notice in my vision statement, I did not mention anything about the scholar ng Bayan Law, the 10648. Which can be an opportunity for us to increase student population. But I would rather that we look into that law very, very carefully, because the moment we accept one student under that law, we have to make sure that we can support that student until the end of his or her program at UPOU. So kailangan pag sinabi natin na 10 estudyante ang tatanggapin natin under the scholar ng Bayan Law, anong katapat na resource generation ang pwede nating isama dito sa pagtanggap nito ng estudyante. But RA 10650 is with us. Because under Section 18 of RA 10650, grants, donations, everything, even services that you do for distance education will be tax exempt. So the law is with us. This is a very good enabling mechanism for us to do the things that we want to do for this university. The last in my action point is improve the university's information and communication system. We cannot achieve administrative efficiency, we cannot achieve institutional efficiency kung ang ating internet ay bumabagsak, kung hindi tayo makapag-web stream ng sabay-sabay kasi ang camera natin ay tatatlo. We have experienced that. Hindi tayo makaschedule ng mga production natin kasi kailangan hatiin mo ang camera, kailangan hatiin mo yung tao. What I envision really is for this, our UPOU networks, and I think I have discussed this with Director Garcia for a number of times. Kung ako ay isang learner, may channel, if I want to learn about child protection, meron akong channel on demand for child protection. If I want to learn something about the BPO industry, I have something for this. If I want to learn something about health, I have a channel for that. So nakaganon. And then, bukod dun sa on-demand content, meron tayong live programming, sabay-sabay na web streaming. Ako, stakeholder ng UPOU, I can choose which channel to view. Para lang nanonood ng television. That's how I envision our information and communication system to be. We have the option. And we can get the information and content that we want on demand. If we are free to get it, if we are free to view it, yung learners on the go natin. If I want it podcast, I can have it podcast. If I want it on radio, I can have it on radio. If I want it on video, then I can have it on video. Whatever is the medium. But before we can do that, we have to improve our equipment complement. We have to improve our the infrastructure, the communication infrastructure of the university. So therefore, at the end of 2019, this is what I hope to see. That UPOU was able to affirm our leadership in ODEL. We have served the Filipino people by contributing to their socioeconomic transformation. We have contributed to the country's economic progress, and we have contributed to the Sustainable Development Goals, the post-2015 agenda. Maraming salamat po. Magandang umaga.
Thank you, Dean Bandalaria. Okay. Um, now we will listen to Dr. Louis A. Divinagracia.
It's good to be back. Well, I was here last July or prior to that because we had a mission of introducing a ladderized program on about entrepreneurship, and uh, and in fact we had you know, we've been continuing this initiative. Then suddenly there was this search for the new chancellor, and so out of respect for the process and out of respect for this university, so I'm therefore taking this challenge. Staff Regent Alex Mia, pleasure to see you again. Of course, Professor Pat and her selection committee, Chancellor Gigi, and Chancellor Lex over there, the vice chancellors, former vice chancellors, the deans, the faculty of this university, the reps, the admin staff, um, our UPOU Foundation Director, Lisa Carrascal, and of course, Mel Bandelaria, our co-nominee in this process. the vision goes beyond 2016 to 2019. The purpose of extending the vision beyond 2019 is that the efforts that we will be able to achieve as a community will be the foundation of whoever will lead this university by 2020. So we are looking at a very short timeline, dear friends. 2016 to 2019 is indeed short. And we know that by 2020, we will be moving towards our 25th year of existence, or our silver jubilee. And this proposed 2020 vision recognizes, first and foremost, our cumulative achievements, especially for those of us who managed to stay here since the university was established. We also would like to give tribute to the achievements of the past and incumbent leaders of this university and their teams. So therefore, the years commencing 2016, that's beginning next year, and the 3 years that follow, ending 2009, as what Mel has already mentioned to us, comes at a very critical state of our operations as a university. So many of you already know that there are road signs when we will begin this journey. Of course, our first road sign is our mandate. We are part of the University of the Philippines. The second is, of course, Republic Act 10650. The third is the opening of our economy, our educational system with our neighboring countries in ASEAN. And next year will be the start of that, especially the harmonization of human resources. And finally, we have Education 2030. And Education 2030 is related to the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. So therefore, I ask this to all of you, that for the next 3 academic years, what do you think is our source of competitive advantage? And we're looking at the value chain of education, both post-secondary and higher education. And we're looking at our competitive advantage here in the country. No doubt that we are the number one. We're the premier open university in this country. But we're also interested to find out our competitive advantage in the region. So therefore, from a technological perspective, and I hope Gigi will be happy when I say this, are we now capable of implementing an intelligent, flexible learning system or model? Because I read her previous speech and she said the 5th generation distance education model as proposed by Professor Taylor in 2001. Now, from a pedagogical perspective, are we already on a connectivist pedagogy? And this is referred to as the 3rd generation distance education model. Again, as identified by fellow scholars Anderson and Drawn in 2011. And from an organizational perspective, are we entering the realm of the industrial model? And we have the UPOU MOOCs, and it is characterized by mass education. Or shall we simply be satisfied being a complementary or supplementary unit in the UP system, where we are partnering with our fellow colleagues in terms of this face-to-face education? So therefore, given those directional signs, the overall vision for the next 3 years is to further expand our reach in delivering, my friends, lifelong education. And we cannot do this by ourselves. We are not alone in this endeavor. We have to do this in strategic alliance with partners that are reputable, with partners that respect us, and with partners that are not only located in our country, but beyond our boundaries. And I agree with what fellow Mel has mentioned. We will do this through Odell. So the road signs, again, that you earlier saw, will now give rise to the 7 priorities that you have read in the vision paper that was distributed to you earlier. And I do not need to repeat those 7. but I shall give you some operational details on how these 7 priorities can become a reality. And since we're speaking of quality assurance, we shall be putting these priorities under 6 key performance areas to ensure that we are indeed tracking their progress. And a QA system that we can adopt, and we may be able to get this as a complementary from the Malcolm Baldrige, if ever we intend to adopt it. So therefore, what is the first key performance area? We call this leadership and governance. And we're looking at the commitment of UPOU to UP's mandate. And UP's mandate is embedded in the Republic Act 9500, or what we know as the UP Charter of 2008. And of course, our national role, RA 10650, which is institutionalizing open distance learning. So, when we look deeper at RA 10650, we might think that this is a very tall order. I agree. In fact, it was approved about 12 months ago, and we expect, as what we have heard earlier, the implementing rules and regulation. I understand that there were public consultations held in our campus last April. But other than that, we also expect to see, at the very least, the interim report of that independent evaluation panel that is embedded in Republic Act 10650. Now, bakit importante itong independent report? Because this independent report, ito ay magiging seed dun sa ating i-implement in the next 3 years. So, based on the law, the independent report should have been done, or the draft result should have been done 6 months after the law was enacted, and the final report 12 months thereafter. So, again, we try to say, baka puro usapang, baka we're just imagining when we are saying this. So, what we did, so nilagyan natin ito ng sample plan. So, we're looking at KRA, leadership and governance. And if, again, as what Mel has shared with us, there are 11 activities that UPOU has to perform. And in each of these 11 activities, and Chancellor Lex might ask me again mamaya, paano ba natin gagawin itong 11 ito? So, ang aking suggestion is, regardless of the outcome of this exercise, we have to start the planning early next year, bago dumating ang bagong academic year 2016 to 2017. So for instance, we're looking at deliverable or activity number 2, promote best ODL practices. So therefore, as a leader in open learning and distance education, we are responsible, and I've written it here, for the 5-year National ODL RDNE program. Ang success nito ay nasa atin at ang ating mga partners. I know that this is a lot of work, but I will explain later, if time permits, how this can be operationalized. One more example, assist, this is deliverable number 9. UPOU is supposed to assist other educational institutions in ODL development. Again, very challenging. Napakaraming educational institutions. Hindi lang yung institutions under CHED, pati pa yung mga educational institutions under TESDA. And to operationalize that, we have to package a set of continuing or an program. In fact, ito, inano ko lang to. I'm just imagining, kung kakayanin natin kasama ang ating partners, we must be able to assist at least one educational institution per month. The scope of which tayo rin na mag-formulate. We have to write what we call as the terms of reference. Of course, we shall continue providing support for lifelong learning. UPOU has gone very far in this regard. And we are at times the envy of other brick and mortar universities, some of them private universities that I have worked with, and some of them government universities. So I place some statistics here. So if we are growing at an average rate of 20%, we are expecting by 2020 or after 3 years from now, 4 million students. Now, of course, President Pascual has been challenged by this. Ilan bang porsyento ng 4 million students ang kayang turuan ng UP under the so-called face-to-face? Ang sagot, 2% lamang or 2%. So, at ang UPOU is about, mathematically, about 0.1%. Now, in terms of age group, we expect to see that at least half of the adult population will be mostly your age, between 25 to 50 years old. Kano karami itong tao dito? 40 million individuals who are seeking one way or the other continuing education opportunities. At kasama po rito yung ating mga kasamahan sa reps at ating mga kasamahan sa administration. In fact, wala lang tayong data ngayon. Ilan ba sa ating mga kasamahan dito sa UP system ang nag-enroll or gusto mag-enroll sa ating programa? Dapat i-encourage natin sila mag-enroll. And then point 3, there is this issue of unemployment and underemployment. Kasama po tayo doon. Strictly speaking, since tayo ay trabahador ng gobyerno, based sa economic definition, tayo ay underemployed. NEDA is very quick to say that it will reduce, and in fact, whoever wins the election, sasabihin niya ito, na i-reduce ang unemployment at 6%. Maganda po yung number na yon. Pero when you say unemployment, ito yung completely walang trabaho or mga tambay. And if this will stay around for another 3 years, kano karami ito nakikita nating unemployed? 4.8 million. So itong mga numbers na sinasabi ko sa inyo, ay Pilipinas pa lang ito. Siguro kasama yung ating mga OFWs, yan ang magiging immediate market natin. Because ang UP OpenU should first cater sa ating mga Pilipino. Next, meron tayong tinatawag na quality of teaching and learning. And I will no longer repeat what Mel has shared with us. We will continue supporting transformational teaching and learning. This is our core competence. We expect to have a continuous leadership role here because at the end of the day, we will be judged and assessed by the quality of our own teaching and learning so that we will no longer be perceived as a second-class provider of educational services. Of course, yung ating societal orientation, at nabanggit ko na sa inyo kanina to, that the country is part of this Education 2030 or the Global Education Agenda. And if you have time, you can Google this. This is in Goal 4 of the Sustainable Development Goal. Knowledge management. It was also stressed earlier about openness and co-creation. I'll just read this very quickly. As education is increasingly viewed as becoming collaborative and shared, UPOU shall promote, support, and champion openness in education. Pero meron po itong hitch, ito pong tinatawag na intellectual property. So we're gonna have to consult with lawyers, ang ating mga alumni sa UP, on how we can protect our intellectual property as we participate in this openness. So here's just a quick example. We can even explore areas of mutual interest with a non-profit organization such as Open Knowledge, which is based in the UK. UNESCO is very hot on this as well. Even Scientific American is another, and so do the Open Commons. Para yung thesis, yung papers, or whatever output na pinoproduce natin at ang ating mga estudyante can be accessible through this facility. So, kung tayo magsasucceed, at sana meron tayong partner that can improve our web facility, yung current site visitors natin will not only double, will not only be 100 times. Our website may perhaps be the most heavily trafficked website among universities in this country. And so finally, we have to go back to the ground. We have to think about our sustainable development. Mababa ang ating sahod. as a government employee. Pwede tayo magkaroon ng mga projects para ma-augment yung ating mga sahod. And that's it. Pero if we continue doing a good job, and this is how private universities and private sector operates, patuloy pong papasok ang grasya dito sa ating university. We have to prove, we have to show na kaya natin gawin. Kaya natin tuparin yung ating mga pinangako. In fact, I may not be as good in technical distance education, but you can tap my expertise as far as resource generation is concerned. At sinasabi ko po sa inyo, regardless of the outcome of this exercise, I already made a commitment that I will continue supporting OU in this regard. We have to think or use ingenuity, imagination. At maganda, nandito si Lisa. We can utilize the UPOU Foundation. May mga tax-free privileges. Mag-enjoy ang ating mga partners. And if this succeeds, we're not only interested in getting their money, we want our partners to be real partners. Kasama natin sila dito sa ating journey. So in closing, the realization of Vision 2020 is not for the Chancellor alone to do. Again, this is a collective and collaborative undertaking. Sa Indonesia, ang tawag namin dito, sama-sama. Eh, ganito din naman dito sa Pilipinas, sa Malaysia, at sa Brunei. And especially for those of you who are in this room, and later on, this program will be broadcasted to other viewers. Maybe not only here, but also outside. I beg to our other viewers, and to those also who are listening to this caucus that we have, let us support and help one another. I don't need to emphasize once again, because Chancellor Gigi and the rest of our past chancellors have stressed the importance of excellence and teamwork. And despite the difficulties, despite the challenges that we will be facing, let us continue to have a growth mindset, encouraging one another that we can succeed in this endeavor by love of learning and resilience. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Dr. Divina Gracia. Now, may we invite our nominees to sit here in front because we will begin the open forum. And para nakikita nyo rin po yung reaction ng mga tao. Sige. What we will do now is first we will begin with the questions that were submitted prior to the forum kasi nauna na sila eh, di ba? So we'll ask first Joanne to read some of them, and then the nominees will have an opportunity to respond. And then we will ask Bobby to read the next set before we open it to the floor. No? Okay. Joanne.
Thank you, Dean Pat. For the first set of questions, to our nominees, what are your reasons for running as Chancellor? What made you decide to run? And if ever you ever become the Chancellor, what can you promise the UPOU constituency? And are you going to continue with what the previous administration has done to UPOU? Or you will start a new one? I know some of the questions have been answered. Maybe you can just highlight some of your plans which have not been mentioned earlier. Thank you.
Maybe we can begin with you, Mel, and then Dr. Divina Gracia for this round.
Okay, thanks, Associate Professor Joanne. I think that answer about the vision, it has been presented, it has been disseminated. The next question is what made me, hi ma'am, what made me decide to run? Well, I think, frankly, it took me a while before I made the decision to run. took a lot of conversation among us and with the people whom I trusted na nakakaalam kung ano ang nararapat sa UU at kung ano ang nakakabuti sa UU. And after those series of discussions and consultations, I said, yes, I will participate as nominee in this process. I also expressed my own preference if ever I will not decide to run. In fact, I have named a person whom I will support. Hindi ko na sabihin sa inyo kung sino. But I have my own, I have planned how it will be, my own participation in this process. And at the end of the day, I said, yes, I will participate. Whether I will continue what the previous chancellors had started, definitely. I mean, as I have mentioned, I've been part of this university for the past more than 20 years. And in all those years, I think I have contributed to what the previous chancellors and the present chancellors, present chancellor has been doing. Definitely, I will continue what we have started together. I will try to introduce new things as demanded by the changing environment affecting Odell. And some of those things are not really totally different from what we have started. They were just, and then also projecting how UPOU can perform its crucial role in terms of still building the knowledge about Odell and making Odell really play an important role in the national and global development. So yun po yung sagot ko.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I have a similar answer to Mel. We really have to build on what you and the leaders of this university have started. Ang tawag po rito, continuity. Beyond continuity is what we call new ventures, new interests, new initiatives. Second point is promise to UPOU. Nakita nyo na po yung presentation kanina. But sinabi, and I'd like to repeat this, ang aking core competence is on resource generation. And regardless of the outcome, uulitin ko po sa inyo, dahil malaki ang utang na loob ko po dito sa UP Open University. Kasi itong building na ating nandito, drawing ito nung kami nila Chancellor Gigi at Chancellor Lex, nandito noon, kasama si Mel. Alam niya ito. Kaya nang katulad ni Moses, hindi ko na po nakita itong building na to. So, nung kinonstruct ito at nakakatuwa naman at nag-grow ang university. So, yun po ang aking promise sa inyo. And third, bakit po ako tumatakbo? Actually, nung about May or June, sinabihan ako ng ating mga kasamahan sa UP, okay lang ka ba babalik dito? So sabi ko, siguro magpa-part-time teaching muna ako, which I did. So part-time teacher ako sa College of Public Affairs. Sabi niya, yun lang ba ang gagawin mo? Ngayon, itong si Vice Chancellor Mendy, sabi niya, pwede mo kami tulungan dito sa ating entrepreneurship. Sabi ko, why not? Wala naman akong ginagawa. So gawa kami ng concept paper at ng pag-usapan at itutuloy po natin yon kasi maganda yung proyekto na yon. And thirdly, sinabi sa akin din ng ating mga kasamahan dito, it's time for you to stay put in the country and serve our country kasi matagal ka nang nawawala. So yun po ang rason. At katulad ng sinabi ni Mel, mahirap po ito. Hindi po ito instant. Nung ako po ay tinawagan ni Aser Javier at kursunada daw niya akong i-nominate dito, hindi ako makasagot kaagad. Kasi hindi biro-biro po ang maging leader ng isang university, lalo na itong UP Open University. Kakaiba tayo dun sa ating mga kapatid sa ibang mga university sa UP system.
Thank you. Okay, can we now ask Bobby to read his set of questions?
So here are the next questions. What existing systems in UPOU will you remove, change, improve, and or transform? And then, what is your personal philosophy of leadership? How are you going to translate this in your administration? Here's a follow-up question for that. For the most part, UPOU has thrived in participatory and transparent decision-making style in the last several years. What can you do to enhance this practice?
Okay. Can we now ask Dr. Divina Gracia to begin?
Teacher po ako ng management. And we have to walk the talk. Itong tinatawag natin transparency and decision making will have to continue. In fact, yun ang ating, kaya tayo UP, kasi because of this love for democratic processes and transparency. Next question, ano po yung philosophy for leadership? Meron pong tinatawag na servant leadership. Kasi yung servant leadership, kailangan po natin ito. In fact, pwede natin i-convince na yung ating ibang mga partners na i-practice nila ito. Hindi lang nila binibigkas, ba't ginagawa? Yun po ang ating philosophy for leadership. At ano ba yung ita-transform natin? Kaya nga meron akong ginawa ditong mga tinatawag na mga evaluation. Kasi doon po natin makikita yung mga gaps. We do not have a perfect system. In fact, yung ating information and communication technology, malaking pagbabago ang kakailangan natin dito. Kung tayo mag-expect 3,000-4,000 students ngayon, sabihin na natin hindi tayo mayabang at doblehin natin yan next year. Dagdag sa ating trabaho. Pero kung tayo may mga partners at magaling ang ating ICT, hindi natin mararamdaman yan. Eh ang ating challenge, paano kung maging 100,000 po yung mag-enroll dun sa ating non-degree programs? Lalong tayo magkakabahan yan. So that's one aspect. So meron tayong tinatawag na proseso to identify where the gaps are in terms of technology, in terms of pedagogy, and in terms of our human resources. And then isasam natin yan, ano ang perang kakailanganin. At paano natin i-invest yung pera na yan para hindi tayo asa ng asa sa gobyerno. Siguro ang gobyerno will become our last resort. At dito natin pinapasok yung ating ingenuity sa paghahanap ng pera from other sources.
Dean Mel.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned in my vision about improvement of the information and communication system so we can achieve administrative and institutional efficiency. We need to improve the kind of support that we are giving to our learners, to our faculty. We need to improve I think I mentioned, hindi lang nakasama dun sa final draft ng aking vision statement. I mentioned something about, he mentioned about walk the talk. I mentioned something about talk the walk. Because we've been doing so many things, and it's really part of codifying the QA system. But we never get to talk about it. I think we need to talk more about how we do the walk. Yes, we need to connect the dots. We have to know where we are in terms of, we know that there are initiatives in terms of basic education, in terms of vocational education. So still part of RA 10650. We need to connect the dots and bridge the gaps. So kailangan yung ano natin doon na saan pa natin mas may strengthen yung ating position in terms of doing our programs. What is my philosophy of leadership? I would look at it as in terms of participatory, coordinated, guided, participatory governance. I believe in the strength of our people. Hindi tayo darating dito going through the trying times of UPOU during our early years kung hindi tayo sama-samang kumilos, kung hindi tayo sama-samang nagtrabaho. I believe in the capacity of our people. So it has to be a participatory governance, shared leadership among us. I think if I may quote Pat, minsan nagsalita ka, kahit yung mga drivers natin can contribute to our efficiency. You mentioned something like that. Our drivers, kahit na yung mga nasa rank and file natin, they contribute so much to our efficiency and can even suggest, recommend to how we can improve on how we do things. So shared leadership, shared governance, participatory po yung gusto kong maging style ng leadership natin.
Thank you. Okay, now at this point, we can take questions from the floor. 3 questions, so one after the other. So, sir, 1 question per person, please. Kung follow-up yun, so you elaborate on your question, that's fine.
Let me have the first punch. I would consider all of what you have said as givens. In other words, dapat mangyari. Okay? Now, the point now is, Dr. Divina Gracia pointed out that one of the road signs in your journey is Republic Act 10605, 650. I would like to know exactly what you will do to implement that, because I think, as far as I'm personally concerned, that is the most important responsibility of the UPOU today from the point of law.
Okay. Should we get a follow-up question? Or would you rather that they respond? Okay, I think we should have you respond. Mukhang wala naman na kayong tatanungin sa 10650 ha. Mamaya pag may nagtanong dyan, papaluin ko kayo. Dean Mel.
Okay. I had the walang follow-up kasi papaluin kayo. I had the opportunity to participate when the law was still being crafted. I was, yeah, uh, I- yung BICAM, during the bicameral discussions and deliberation and during the implementation consultation of IRR. And when we were doing that, I was already telling people that some of these things we are already doing. I mean, nagsishare na tayo and all those things. It's just that we need to be more concrete on how we will do each of these things. Inopen na natin yung mga materials natin, nag-open course na tayo, OERs, nag-organize na tayo ng conferences. Ngayon meron na tayong publication, meron na tayong journal. I know and we have planned for this. Even before this process, we said it cannot be patches of initiatives from different people, from different units of UPOU. We have to be more programmatic on how we will approach this. We have different ideas. Like for instance, yung mga workshop na ginawa natin ng NCODEL. So we have ICODEL, we have NCODEL. Next year, we will have AAOU 2016. Itong mga patches na to, pwedeng gawing workshop. We have MDE. We've been helping the HEIs in the past. Through our in fact, the MDE program was specifically created to help HEIs who want to do distance education. I think there is a plan, and I will really push for it, that some of the courses for under MDE will be offered under MOOC. Yung ating integration of credit courses and MOOC para mas mai-open natin yung access natin doon. Training courses na ICT enabled, we will continue doing that. Of course, the OERs, all those things. But we really need to sit down on how we can be more institutionalized about it. How can it can be more institutionalized para how do you call that? Makukonserve natin yung resources natin. We are very few here. Kailangan pagkilos natin sabay-sabay at mama-maximize natin whatever resources the university has at present. But we have started doing this. We will continue doing, and we will continue introducing some more mechanisms so we can look into the specific sections of specific ang tawag doon, yung article under section 12.
Provisions.
Provisions under section 12.
Maliit kasi Chancellor-elect yung aking table dito eh. Pero iniwan ko yung PowerPoint slide para makita din ng iba. But essentially, ito yung gagawin po natin. Kasi 11 yun eh. So, if we take number 1, kasi yun ang unang-una sa listahan, provide leadership in ODL development and appropriate use of ICTs. Ang nilagay kong KPI dito is an ICT support plan for our model curricular programs. The plan, again, will have to be done now kasi ipipresent natin ito sa ating mga partners sa private sector. Now, sino-sino ba itong mga private sector partners na very hot sa ating sa ganitong mga programa? Yung asosasyon po na mga nagpo-provide ng mga hardware sa ating mga opisina dito sa Pilipinas. Kasi dalawang klase po yan. Isa po yung foreign group na Taiwan or Korea dominated, saka yung Chinese-Philippine dominated dito sa ating bansa. At once upon a time, nabanggit na nila ito eh. Hindi ginagawa pa yung batas. Sabi ko, i-refer ko na lang kayo sa Chancellor ng UPOU. During that time, ginagawa pa lang nga ito. So, I think they're ready. Basta gagawin natin yung draft, bibigyan natin sa kanila, i-modify nila yon, and so forth and so on. Another example, ito very critical, yung promote best ODL practices saka share knowledge on ODL. We can already approach DOST as early as now. Kasi ito yung government counterpart eh. Kasi kailangan natin ng national ODL, RD&E program. Katulad na meron tayong National Agricultural Program na ginagawa ng PICARD and other agencies under DOST. Ganito din itong mangyayari dito para sa atin, including NRCP for the local at tapos mag-branch out tayo for international. One more example is itong tinatawag na design quality learning materials. Ito ginagawa na ito. In fact, maganda nga ang progress natin dito. Pero gagawa rin tayo ng tinatawag na ODL Instructional Material Development Plan. Lalagyan natin ito ng detailed activities ng KPIs kasi ibebenta natin ito dun sa mga publishers na tutulong sa atin. Ang World Bank po, hindi na magfa-fund ng printed material. They will fund itong tinatawag na digital materials. So they need an excellent proposal. At isasubmit natin sa kanila ito. Not only us, isasama natin yung ibang mga entities na tutulong sa atin. So, Chancellor Lex, yun ang example nung sinasabi natin, paano natin ita-translate yung plano into reality. So may mga timelines na po ito.
Thank you. Okay, can we have a couple more questions from the floor before we turn to the written questions again? Assistant Professor Cesar Luna.
Hello. My question is for both nominees. I would like you to imagine that you have become the UPOU Chancellor. And you get a phone call from President Pascual. And he says that I would like you to develop two programs, to develop and propose two programs, one undergraduate program and one graduate program. And they don't even have to be in the same field, in any field that you want. And he says, if you do this, I will throw my full support behind this. If necessary, I will speak privately with the chancellors of the different CUs. And once this is approved, I'll give you anything you want, faculty items, laboratories, whatever you need. So what are these, so given this scenario, what are these two programs that you would propose and why?
So one undergraduate program and one graduate program. Sir, can we begin with you this time? Okay, ayos. Ay, hindi po, kasi naka-record.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, medyo fortunate lang tayo na mauumpisa natin yung isang program. This is about yung tinatawag nating entrepreneurship. Ang ating system nito is ladderized from certificate up to the master's level. Okay, ngayon, napag-usapan din, paano yung mga estudyanteng hindi pa nakaka-graduate? Ito po ay idea pa lang. Idea na lumalabas pa lang ngayon sa utak. Magpa-partner tayo dun sa mga tinatawag na mga government universities na mataas ang kanilang accreditation. In fact, sana ideally sila yung tinatawag na autonomous. So sila ang magiging feeder para sa ating programa. So, yun ang aking unang sagot. Kasi dalawa yung tinatanong niyo po, yung entrepreneurship. Yung pangalawa, yung tinatawag na sa technology, specifically yung skills-driven. Kasi kasama ang TESDA rito. Although ang TESDA meron nang ni-launch na mga distance education program, i-enrich natin yon at gagawin din natin ladderize yon. So at the end of the stream, makakakuha din ng Masters in Technology or Masters in Engineering. Kung ano man yung appropriate requirements nung tinatawag na university-industry partnership. Kasi sila yung mag-e-employo dito sa ating mga ipoproduce. So yun po kung dalawa, yun po ang uunahin natin.
Thank you. Dean Mel?
Napaka-tempting ng faculty items, no? Kasi yun yung gustong-gusto natin, faculty, reps items, gustong-gusto natin yun. Now, we are talking of the next 3 years, and I will be asked what one undergraduate program and one graduate program that I will push for development, it will be for FMDS. One undergraduate program for FMDS and one doctoral program for FMDS, because that will now complete the profile Nakangiti yung mga taga-FMDS. Hindi ko alam kung yung ngiti ninyo ay ngiti ng pagpapasalamat o ngiti ng apprehension dahil dagdag na. We have to complete these things. And we know that FMDS has been pushing for this. An undergraduate program, we can continue what will be the specific focus of those programs, but I will definitely push for an undergraduate program for FMDS and a doctoral program also at FMDS.
Thank you. Okay. Can we have the next set of questions read out, please, before we call anyone from the floor? Teka. You have one? Sige, Vice Chancellor Lumanta, please.
Okay. Well, from both presentations, it looks like there's a lot of overlap. In other words, a lot of agreement, and maybe even the UPOU is agreeing with most of those projects or programs and activities that have been proposed. Um, what would be the distinction of your administration should any one of you be the chancellor, the next chancellor?
Thank you. Now we will begin with Dean Mel.
What will be the distinction of my administration? I can probably I don't know if it's really a distinction because we've been doing this. I will really push for the higher level of use of the ICTs for everything that we do. So talagang ang ano ko is automation, like in administration, some of the tasks that we can automate so we can free our staff with the mundane tasks that they need to do. So yung mga apps na yan. And also, kalimutan ko yung isa. My God. So it's the ICT, sign of aging. The use of ICT and yes, yung ano for the staff welfare, I guess. But still with the use of ICT. Para lang ma-free tayo. Yung ating research on analytics, learning analytics, business analytics, the use of analytics, data mining, artificial intelligence, ilagay natin lahat, gamitin natin yon doon sa mga bagay na ginagawa natin. And also to push for like improving our mileage, media mileage, improving yung visibility natin. Halimbawa, nalaman natin na based on analytics, ang nagbibisita pala ng website natin ay ganito. Saan sila tumitigil? Are they just visiting the website by accident or purposely? Saan nanggagaling itong mga to? Ganon. So we can design something on this. So it's really pushing for the use of modern ICTs for the things that we do, even in our teaching and providing support. Siguro dito makikita ninyo yung involvement ko for the past 6 years, and even when I was still a registrar, ito pa rin yung aking ginagawa hanggang ngayon.
Okay, sir.
Mahirap mag-commit dyan sa question na yan. Pero easily, if we want to walk the talk once again, kasi mandated tayo for access. If we're already happy with having 4,000 degree students and maybe an equal number of 4,000 non-degree students, kung ako ay mapipiling leader nitong eskwelahan nito, sa tingin ko, dadamihan natin. Hindi lang tayo mag-8,000. Lalo na pag napakaganda ng ating website at napakaganda ng ating MOOCs. Sa tingin ko lang, at ito parang nanguhula pa lang ako, pero kinakapa ko rin siya. I won't be surprised na aabot tayo sa 50,000. Of course, sasabihin nyo, that's a lot of work. If we will only rely on ourselves. Kaya kasama po natin ang tinatawag ng mga corporate universities. Kasi malaki ang requirement nila dito. Sila ang papadeliveran natin. Tayo ang architect. Sila papag-implement ang quality assurance sa atin din. So, in a nutshell, yun ang aking dream. I want to be known for that so that someday, pag mag-uusap ulit tayo nila Mel, nila Chancellor Gigi, ni Chancellor Lex, ano bang nagawa mo in 3 years? Sabi ko, kami dito sa OU, napaabot namin yung enrollment sa 50,000. Of course, that falls into place yung mga nabanggit, mga support, learning support, ICT, and pera. Yun ang aking gusto mangyari.
Thank you. Now can we have the next set of read aloud questions?
Thank you. This set of questions is about human resources. Okay, so we have a number, as you can see, we have a number of questions from our colleagues. And basically, all these questions are asking about what will you do about the regularization of our contractual and NGW staff? How do you what is your strategy to acquire more regular items, either from the DBM or the UP system? And second to that, there are now some staff who are casual staff who are about to retire. What will be the benefits that they'll be getting, considering that there are casual staff? In relation again to that, we have been hearing talks about ODL, and we have done a lot of things about this, but it seems that the UPOU personnel's learning needs about ODL have been set aside. So what are your plans for UPOU staff members' human resource development, specifically the reps and admin staff? And itutuloy ko na rin because this is about rights and welfare. What is your stand on unionism on the public sector? And will you be supporting the efforts of the union in upholding labor rights and welfare? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. Sir.
Dapat, tayong champion dito eh. We have to support. We cannot turn our backs. And of course, hindi ko na po kwento sa inyo yung dinanasan namin nung kami nasa UPLB pa. Pinaulan ng bala yung ating mga buildings eh. Kasi nga, nagkaroon ng injustice sa ating mga kasamahan na contractual or daily ang sahod. At itinuwid natin yung pagkakamali na yon. Mabuti nga, at yun ay isang reminder. At hindi sana mangyayari sa atin ito. Kaya support tayo sa unionism. Learning needs. Siyempre, we have to be our own UPOU. Pag tayo tinanong ng ating mga kaibigan, ng ating mga kapitbahay, anong ginagawa mo ngayon? Engage ako sa lifelong learning. Ano yan? Patuloy ako nag-aaral. Paano nangyayari yun? Nagtatrabaho ka. May OU eh. So tayo mismo ang magiging testimony ang ating sarili sa ating mga kaibigan at ating kapitbahay na maganda at magaling yung ating university. At hindi lang tayo, pati yung ating mga kasamahan sa ibang mga UP campuses. We have to market, convince them. But of course, hindi sila basta maniniwala. Yung ating kwento, yung ating experience, ang magiging proof na magaling yung ating mga produkto. Third, ano pong gagawin doon sa casuals on retirement? When we started this campus, this outfit, kaya nga nagkasakit-sakit kami dito. Kasi napakahirap talaga kumuha ng item. Mahirap maglimos sa mga kongresista sa mga senador. Kasi katulad ngayon, pinupul ang mga items dyan sa office ng UP President. So this will now entail a lot of negotiations. Now, I'm really concerned. Kasi paano kung ako yung casual na magre-retire na ngayon? Ito ang aking proposal at kukonsultahin natin dito ang ating mga legal minds. Meron tayong OU Foundation. I would assume na private sector yon. Ang aking proposal, itutuloy natin ang kanilang trabaho sa OU Foundation. Of course, sabihin saan natin kukunin yung pera? Doon nga sa mga proyektong gagawin natin. Kasi hindi naman tayo basta makaka-hire or ma-extend natin ang pagpapasweldo sa ating mga kasamahan kung hindi tayo magkakaroon ng funding na non-government. Kaya napaka-tall order po nito. Itong pong mga plano na pinopose ko dito sa aking presentation ngayon, dapat maging reality ito. Kasi ito yung magiging source ng funding, especially for those sa ating mga kasamahan na magre-retire at ang kanilang retirement ay questionable pa. Pero hahabulin natin yon. Pero hindi naman tayo makakapangako kasi ganun po ang realidad. Ang paglilimos, tayo naglilimos. Tayo magiging aggressive. Tayo magbebenta ng ating programa para maniwala yung mga tao sa Appropriations Committee na dapat nilang taasan, dagdagan ang pondo natin. Okay, pero hindi po madali yun. Pero gagawin natin yun. And then finally, itong regularization. Ako po in-attach kasi wala naman ako masyadong alam kung ano na nangyayari dito. pinag-drive po tayo ng isa nating kasamahan na driver. Ako naman, I was just asking an innocent question sa kanya. Sabi ko, oh, di may item ka na pala, may item ka na ngayon. Sir, wala po eh. Hindi ko alam kung anong sasabihin ko sa kanya. Kasi wala naman ako dito, wala naman akong personalidad ngayon sa OU. Pero ako ay nasasaktan pag naririnig ko yung mga ganong kwento. At kung dito sa 3 taon ito, either si Mel or ako, ay dapat talagang actionan natin ito. Matagal na yung ating kasamahan at walang item. Kailangan pa ng push. I'm sure ginawa na ni Chancellor Gigi ang kanya magagawa. Ayun nga lang, matatapos na yung term niya. But I'm sure meron na siyang wisdom, meron na siyang experience kung paano niya inano ito. At I think, bibigyan niya tayo ng advice. At tayo ay dapat i-pursue ito. Hindi natin dapat, no one is left behind. Para tayo mga Marines. So once magkaroon kasi ng injustice, at ito sinasabi ko po rin sa mga private universities na saan ako na-involved, hindi po tayo bibiyayain ng Diyos. So we have to correct the injustices.
One of the action points in my vision statement is the welfare of the staff, and I've been witness to the efforts already exerted by the previous and the current chancellor on this. I was also present during our last dialogue with PAEP, wherein we were holding our breath in terms of the grant of faculty items, admin and reps items to us. Pero yun nga, of course, I cannot commit. Frankly, I cannot commit that we will do it during the next 3 years because I know there may be circumstances may change. Circumstances may change that will probably allow us to get the much needed items to regularize our staff. But meanwhile, what can we do? We will continue doing that, but on the other hand, what we can do, and we've been doing this even before. We need to provide more opportunities for our people in lieu of the benefits that they can get for being a regular staff, for being tenured, etc. What other benefits can compensate for that? What can we give them so that they can prepare for their eventual retirement in the event that they will not get that permanent position even at that point of retirement? So, ano yung preparasyon na yon? One is continuing professional development. Let's give them the kind of training that they need for them to improve yung kanilang current na trabaho, pagtatrabaho, and for them to prepare for whatever still gainful economic engagement that they can do after retirement. So, i-augment natin ngayon, and I can honestly say we've been doing that for many of our staff through the projects that we are bringing in. Again, nawala ang PDAP na nagbibigay sa atin ng maraming pondo, pero may pumalit na RA 10650, Section 18. We can continue working under that provision of the law so that we can get more funds and help our people in terms of continuing professional development and financial assistance. So yun, continuing professional development. Yun, ako tinitingnan ko ang union sa isang universidad bilang bahagi ng academic freedom. Kung tayo mga faculty, meron tong reps, lahat may karapatan tayo na ipaglaban yung karapatan natin. And again, for me, that is also part of looking into the welfare of our people. So, ano naman yan kung patuloy, hindi naman kailangang umabot dun sa punto ng demonstrasyon, may nagrarally sa labas. I mean, I've been part of those things, and I know I will be able to handle if ever it will reach that point. But if we will continuously look for the welfare of our people, then probably a union can just be a collective voice of our people, making yung rights nila na marinig din ng ibang concern. Of course, there should also be a continuing negotiation with other CUs kasi yun yung isang factor ba tayo hindi makakuha ng regular item. We can come up with an agreement with them. Paano tayo share ng whatever vacant items they have. So we approach them, we dialogue with them kung sino yung sa palagay natin ay makakatulong sa atin. So hand in hand, hindi pwedeng ito lang, hindi pwedeng ito lang, hindi pwedeng ito lang. Kailangan yung mga mechanism na nakikita natin na pwedeng makabigbigay sa atin ng mga gusto natin mangyari para sa ating mga tao, sabay-sabay natin gawin yon. Kung lahat sila ay magbigay ng magandang resulta, good for our people, good for the university.
Thank you. Now can we have the next set of questions from Bobby, please?
Thank you, ma'am. Here they are. First question. There had been not so good feedback on EUP, such as delayed operation, longer transactions, and complaints. But the CUs are still required to implement the system. What is your take on this? That's the first question. The second one is, there was a move before to separate UPOU from the UP system. What is your stand on this? And the third one is, what is the greatest challenge or obstacle in implementing your vision? How do you plan to address them? Address it. Or if it's more than one, then thank you.
Okay. Hindi ko maalala kung sino yung naunang sumagot. Ay, hindi. Ikaw ang huling nagsalita. So, si Sir. So, ikaw ngayon ang una.
Pare-pareho na tayo.
Natawa kasi ako dun sa kinorek pa niya yung preposition niya. Okay.
I think tatlong questions yun. One is EUP, and I think I already made a statement with regard EUP. I still believe in the vision of EUP. Maaring sa implementasyon ay gano'n naman talaga eh. I mean, hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin na ang isang inisyatibo ay tama, perpekto sa unang try. Kaya ang sinabi ko, ang EUP, tingnan natin, at kung kinakailangan i-contextualize natin sa ating sitwasyon, sa sitwasyon ng UPOU, then we do that. And I think we are doing that. Yung sa different components of EUP, kasi hindi naman natin masasabi kung ano yung pagkukulang, alin ang babaguhin, at alin yung ating i-bridge kung hindi natin pag-aaralang mabuti yung EUP. Let us not be affected by the feedback of other people. Let us try it ourselves. Let us try. Kasi halimbawa, sinabi na hindi maganda yung EUP. Bakit hindi maganda? Diba? Naranasan natin. Okay, ano yung naranasan natin na hindi maganda? Naranasan natin yung delay sa registration. Diba? Last sem, in-implement natin yung EUP. So ngayon, paano natin mamamaximize kung ano yung na yung nandun sa konteksto ng UPOU? Ano yung kailangan natin gawin para ma-contextualize natin yan sa pangangailangan natin? At saan natin mamamaximize ang mga naandun ng components ng EUP? So yun yung, kasi andyan yan eh. Kailangan natin pagtuunan niya ng pansin. On the stand for UPOU to secede from UP, matagal ng issue yan. And in fact, I know that there was a point that we were really tempted to do that. We were really tempted to do that. I can recall at the time I was still a registrar that talagang napakahigpit, napakalakas ng ugong na for UPOU to secede from UP. Ako, ang naging stand ko noon, no. No. Why? Dahil tayo, may mga kailangan tayong, UP has gained its branding, excellence, etc. We have now RA 10650. Ano pa ang kailangan natin para mas makapag-push tayo dun sa kailangan nating gawin? Siguro, kung ang pagsisid sa UP ay magkakaroon ng, hindi ko alam kung anong oportunidad pa ang ibibigay sa atin ng pagsisid sa UP. Kasi yung sinasabi natin na we are an open university operating in the environment of a residential system. Yun siguro yung nagpapapigil sa atin upang tayo ay lumago. Pero ano bang klaseng paglago ang gusto nating gawin para kailangan natin kumalas sa UP? So yun yung gusto kong pag-aralan. My stand now is no. I am open to changing it if there will be changing circumstances, especially in the context of my number one point of action, openness. So yun siguro yung magkakaroon ng konting pag-aaral pa. Obstacle, if ever I will be selected, as of the moment, I could not think of anything, frankly. I could not think of anything, probably because some of the things that I have presented in my vision statement, I'm already doing, and I've been doing for so many years. I cannot even think of yung mga magagandang offers sa labas ng universidad that will prevent me from continuing serving the university because I've been to that position before. I was registrar, I was offered a consultancy, etc. I mean, but I opted to stay. So parang wala ako at this point na makita na obstacle. Siguro kung magkasakit ako ng malubha, hindi na ako makatrabaho. Yun siguro. Pero naranasan ko na rin yun, nagpatuloy din ako ng pagtatrabaho. Ganon. So at this point wala akong maisip. Siguro if you will point to me, I can answer directly based on what you know of me.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Meron pong proseso. Ang tawag diyan is yung tinatawag na ISO. Now, we'll have to check kay President Pascual kung ano ang kanyang stand dito sa ISO. Kaya ako po nabanggit ito dahil yung pong mga tinutulungan natin na mahihinang mga private schools or private universities, yung kanilang customer feedback, ginagawa nila yon every week. At meron silang sheets of paper at kinokollect nila every week yon. At every time magbi-meeting yung mga leaders at yung mga staff, sinasabi nila kung anong progress na ang nangyari dun sa feedback. So, kung say mabagal ang website natin, mabagal ang facility natin, obvious na feedback na yon, bibigyan dapat ng solusyon. So yan, merong systematic way on how to convert the feedback into opportunities. So we do not need to reinvent the wheel. Kailangan lang tayong bigyan nitong tinatawag na technical know-how on how to do that. At may mga outsiders na pwedeng tumulong sa atin para ma-convert natin yung feedback into something na mapapaganda natin ang ating operasyon. No, we will never, maybe in my whole lifetime, we will never separate from UP. That's the long and short of it. We will have to remain under UP. Malaki ang temptation. In fact, ang dapat natin gawin is paano natin mako-convince yung mga kasamahan natin sa UP that we are not a second-class university. Tanggalin natin sa image. In fact, that is a challenge. Now, para experiential po ito eh. Kung yung produkto ay magugustuhan nila at mag-e-enjoy sila, they will stop saying, walang kwenta ang Open University. Dapat sabihin nila, nakaka-enjoy ito para nag-chat-chat lang ako sa Facebook o nakikipagkwentuhan ako sa mga kaibigan ko. Eh, syempre, yung ating mga experts dito sa instructional technology or educational technology, meron na silang karanasan on how to do that. Kaya kung kailangan yan ma-enhance at mapaganda, then kukuha tayo ng mga partners from abroad. Samahan natin ng pondo at assistance. Remember, salesmanship po ito. Yun nga ang trabaho ng mga presidente ng mga university. How to sell the university to outsiders so that they will be able to raise resources. In like manner, yun ang challenge ng leader ng Open University. It is a selling job. In fact, this might become our biggest fear, whether we will live up to that expectation. But since we already made this commitment, we are in for that. And our performance will be judged based on how good we marketed this university. At yung fruits po ng successful marketing is maraming resources, maraming estudyante, at tayo po ay hindi natatawaging second class. Sana magawa natin yun in the next 3 years.
The third question had to do with the personal challenge and how you will overcome it? Or
Yun nga po ang ating personal challenge. Ako as a person, even na ginagawa ko na to sa mga ibang universities outside UP, ang akin na realize is that a university is any organization that has to prove its worth sa market. At as a leader, yun ang challenge ko. Na tayo, yung ating produkto will be delighted. Madi-delight ang ating mga kasamahan. In fact, ang tatanungin sa akin, I'm sure, ito na ang unang tatanungin sa akin pag ako'y nag-umpisa na mag-market ng ating university. Anong distance education program ka naka-enroll ngayon? You've been talking about lifelong education. Ikaw ba'y nag-aaral? Dapat ang sagot ko doon, yes. Asa ka nag-aaral? Dapat ang sagot ko, kumukuha ko ng kurso sa OU. May oras ka ba? Siyempre may oras ako kasi maganda yung produkto namin. Makakapag-aral ka sa sarili mong oras. At pag sinasabi ko yun, hindi po ako nang bobola. Ipapakita ko yung proof na ako, as a leader, ay nag-aaral sa OU. So dapat gawin yun. Dapat natin gawin yun.
Okay, thank you. We can have questions from the floor. Yes, Diego.
Thank you for your presentations. In the same breath, you mentioned, meron akong narinig.
Meron.
Okay.
Okay.
In the same breath, you talked about openness and competitiveness, and there's a tension there. And my question relates to that. Could you expand on the issue of partnerships? Who precisely do you see as collaborators, and who precisely do you see as competitors?
Okay. Yung huling sumagot ay si Sir. So, ibig sabihin siya ngayon ang unang sasagot. Yun na lang ang tatatanong. Sino huling nagsalita? Okay.
Sana ma-capture ko yung tanong mo. I-correct mo ako kung yung sagot ko ay ugma sa tanong mo. There's a tinatawag na openness, di ba? Collaboration and competition ang sinasabi. Okay. Yan ang sinasabi natin eh. Kasi yung classical competition theory na doon tayo in school, yung pong mga ibang eskwelahan, ibang open university, yun po ay competitors. Yun yung thinking noon. Eh pinapalitan na nga ngayon yan at sinasabing, we have to collaborate. Yung ating so-called na kaaway or kung ano man ang tawag natin doon, eh yun ay magiging partner natin. Kaya nga itong tinatawag na asosasyon ng mga open university, dapat maging active tayo dyan. I'm sure active na nga tayo dyan eh. Pero tayo ang magli-lead dyan. Tayo mag-i-influence kung anong areas of partnership. Kasi yung sa isang organizational model na nabasa natin sa isang publication, kung papayag kayo, pwede tayo mag-ad hoc or we can move to ad hoc. Meaning, kung ito ang range of services na ating i-offer, siyempre may mga suppliers dyan, di ba? Yung ibang suppliers, ito yung nag-iisip pa lang tayo, hindi natin sabihin gagawin natin. I-outsource to. So in other words, kanina natin i-outsource to. Di syempre dun sa mga reputable na mga organization at iba doon ay mga so-called competitors natin. So there's no such thing under the new order of competition.
Follow-up question, can you actually be quite specific about names? So, for example, pag ako ay naghanap ng isang online course, the first place I go to is Coursera or EduLearn or the EDX. And could you spell out your stance on these particular organizations?
I mean, this is no secret anymore kasi this is my personal conviction dyan sa Coursera and other MOOCs. But please, wag ko yung magalit sa akin kung sasabihin ko itong aking personal na sagot. Dapat tayo makipag-alyansya sa kanila. Kasi meron mga features, itong mga MOOCs nito, na pwede natin pakinabangan. Ngayon, matinding usapan ito. Again, as a leader, dapat gawin yon. Kasi hindi natin sila dapat tingnan ng ano. Eh, ito nga bago ko pumunta rito, sabi ng aking kapitbahay, Oy, Louie, mag-aral ka sa Coursera kasi meron silang subject learning how to learn. In fact, nag-register na nga ako doon. At nagugulat ako na yung assessment napakabilis. Mahuhuli ka kung ikaw ay nakikinig, kung binabasa mo, kasi may lalabas na question ka agad eh. Sabi ko, very intelligent. So, paano kaya ito gagawin ng OU? At kano kabilis niya to magagawa or madadaig niya? Kung ang sagot natin ay medyo matatagalan pa, di humanap tayo ng ibang solusyon. So in other words, ang tawag na namin ito sa business school, sleeping with the enemy. In other words, the enemy is no longer an enemy. Ito ay ating collaborator. Yun ang direct sagot ko sa iyo.
Okay.
Did I answer?
Do you need actually that answered both questions. Who do you perceive as your collaborators? Who do you perceive as your competitors?
And very quickly, i-add ko lang to. Meron tayong tinatawag na SIMYO. Di ba meron Universitas Terbuka sa Indonesia, sa Malaysia meron din. Sabihin natin competitor natin to. Hindi, kasi under the SIMYO, mga kakampi natin. Ang ating lang challenge dito, ano bang papel na gustong gawin ng mga kasamahan natin? At ano yung papel na gusto natin gawin? Kasi dapat mag-grow naman tayo sabay-sabay. And then thirdly, ano ba ang papel natin dito sa Asian University Network? Kasi ang pumapapel ngayon dyan, syempre yung tinatawag na face-to-face. Sila yung nag-ano dyan. Wala ang open and distance education sa Asian University Network. I think it's about time. Kailangan papilan na natin yun. Kasi yun din ang magiging source later on ng ating tinatawag na accreditation. Kasi bakit ba yung mga ibang eskwelahan may accreditation? Ang UP hindi na-accredit. So kung di tayo na-accredit nationally, Ewan ko lang kung papayag ang presidente or papayag ang Board of Regents, siguro pwede tayo magpa-accredit internationally. Kung tayo talaga ang number one, i-prove natin. Magpa-undergo tayo ng accreditation. Eh yun malang ay suggestion. Of course, ipopropose pa natin to dun sa mga leader ng ating university at sa inyo kung gusto nyong dumaan sa ganung proseso for pang-international na ito.
Thank you. Ninmel.
I also don't believe in competition. I think it's really collaboration that we are into now. And I look into collaboration as something strengthening. We are doing research collaboration now with the OU5. We call them the OU5. The Open University Malaysia, Terbuka, STOU, the Sukhothai Tamaterat, and Hanoi Open University. We have started a collaboration way back 2013. In terms of the institutional research, we are leading both groups, the Asian group and the institutional group, right? And we have just we have just concluded one meeting. So it's really, we have already thrown away the competition when it comes to other open universities. We have started collaborating with them. We have started the cooperation with them. Do I need to answer about the Coursera thing? Okay. Frankly, since 2008, I've been participating in MOOCs because we need to study it. We need to study it. So and I still look at this. Paborito ko ay edX. Mas gusto ko sila. At saka yung mga kurso nila. I still believe that they can be sources of OERs. Materials. The last course I enrolled, na syempre hindi ko natapos, ay on learning analytics. Learning analytics because I want to have materials. We've been talking about learning analytics. We will go into business analytics. So I said, okay, how can I know more about it? So I enrolled in Coursera. So may gamit sila. Tayo ba ay sasama sa Coursera? My answer is no. Because my position when it comes to our MOOCs, which we term model, nun nga mag-term tayo ng model, it is already a sign of our breaking away from their model of MOOCs, from their model of openness. Kaya nilagyan natin ang pangalan natin, model. Hindi natin ginagamit yung MOOCs. Ginagamit lang natin yung MOOCs para maintindihan nila na yung model natin ay yung MOOCs doon sa kanilang perspektibo, sa kanilang pagtingin. So, magagamit natin yung mga Coursera kung paano natin sila gustong gamitin. Sources of materials, etc. Ano na ba ang nangyayari ngayon? They are already moving for MOOCs for credit. Diba? So may mga ganun din silang move. Tayo, I still believe that we can position our model courses strategically. Sino yung ita-target natin? And we've been doing that. For our UNICEF courses, for our BPO courses, open for everyone to learn. Pero may mga tinatarget tayong sektor at may mga goals tayo na tinatarget. May I say that in the MOOCs, massive open online courses, massive open distance e-learning, the emphasis is on openness and not on massiveness. That's how I see it. So may position now, no Coursera, no edX, but we can learn from them. May future learn pa. Kasi kung gusto nyo ng American, so you can talk of Coursera, edX, and Udacity. Kung gusto nyo ng yung sa UK model, that's the future learn. But then again, we have to have our own model. The emphasis is on openness, not on massiveness. So we can be 30, 50, 100, not 150, which is the standard for massiveness. We can be below 150, but we are open. So that's my stand for the openness thing.
Okay, thank you. Can we have, actually there's just one last set of questions to be read by Joanne, and then another last set to be read by Bobby. We can have one last question from the floor. Should we, yun yung huli, ano? You think? That should be, sige. So let's begin with Joanne first.
Okay, so medyo hindi na related tong mga questions. Ano, sa pair group na lang namin. Number one questions. I'm sure you already have your own cabinets in mind. So who will be your vice chancellors? Number two, you mentioned a while ago that you would like to increase the number of students. So Sir Louis said about the 4 million. I don't know with Ma'am Mel how many she said. But how do you intend to hire faculty and staff to support this number of students given the moratorium on hiring? And number three, what are your plans to help students who are financially challenged? Will you implement the STFOP system here, or would you propose a different scheme to the to the UP system?
Okay. Mel, ikaw. Kasi ikaw ang huling nagsalita. Yun na lang ang aking. Kasi hindi ko maalala sino na una. Alright.
Yung unang tanong, yung gabinete, kung may nasa isip na,
Oo.
syempre, pag kailangan nasa isip mo yon, but I cannot really say na fix na siya. 'Di ba? Kasi hindi mo rin, we know that in 2016, hindi lang chancellorship ang magbabago sa UPOU. Pati mga terms ng deans magbabago din. I mean, mag-end ang term ko, magbabago yung end ni Dean June. Sabay kami ni Dean June eh. Si Baggy, hindi nga siya co-terminus, pero I mean, we have to look into those things. And frankly, yes, I have people in mind. But I must say, they are not yet fixed. Secret. They're not yet fixed. Kasi alam niyo kung bakit? Because you need to talk to these people. You need to talk. And at this point in time, hindi ko naman sila pwedeng lapitan na kasi hindi naman tayo sigurado kung ano mangyayari, di ba? I mean, ako mismo sa sarili ko, kung hindi ako mapiling chancellor, meron akong mga sariling plano sa buhay. Di ba? I have options myself. I mean, if my term is ending in March, so meron din ako sariling plano. And that does not include being an administrator of this university. I mean, di ba may ganun? So baka naman yung ibang tao may mga ganun din plano. I have people in mind, but I've yet to talk to them before I can say that, yes, these are the people. But definitely, these are positions to be filled up. And I know, siguro I can bank on what I know of our people, their capability, their interests, and somehow, ano yung mga nasasabi nila na mga plano nila sa buhay. Pero that will not limit also yung ano mo na tumingin din sa labas. Sino yung may kakayanan at may willingness to serve UPOU. So titingnan mo din yon. Let us not limit our horizon to what there. Okay. Paano i-increase
Faculty and staff.
yung faculty and staff? Marami tayong mechanisms. Okay, meron tayong teaching assistants, teaching fellows, lecturers. Nabubuhay tayo simula ng itayo ang OU sa lecturers. And I still look at lecturers, especially kapag kailangan mo yung industry know-how doon sa mga courses natin. Our lecturers can be a potent source of that thing to improve the quality of instructions that we have. So lecturer, teaching assistant, teaching fellows, meron tayong mga visiting professors. Mga visiting professors tayo. And I think I mentioned in my vision statement na yung partnership which can, yung mga projects, ganyan, we can hire more project staff. Kapag ka nagbigay ka ng budget allocation to hire project staff, I look at it also as a mechanism to mentor people on the way we do things in OVEL. Diba? Magsisimula siya project staff. Ganyan. Pero kapag na-integrate mo siya dun sa universidad, ma-assimilate niya yung kultura natin eh. Kung siya ay magpapatuloy, mag-aaral, pwedeng in the future, ma-hire siya pagka nagkaroon na ng mga positions, ganyan. And masisi siya as project staff. Even our NGWs. How many NGWs are we hiring now? Ako, I don't look at NGWs as transitory thing. Again, from NGWs, pwede tayong kumuha ng, tinitingnan ko nga, meron nga tayong mga NGWs, pwede mga teaching assistants eh. Di ba? Yung mga nag-MS, nag-PhD, we can look at that as a mechanism na madagdagan yung mga tao natin. Paano tutulungan ang mga financially challenged? Siguro itong, kung kilala niyo ako, hindi niyo itatanong sa akin itong tanong na to. Because right from the start, this has been my advocacy. Mobilizing resources to provide scholarship grants to deserving students. In the last, yung last phase ng yung scholarship program na binibigay natin sa mga public school teachers, we also assess bakit may mga dropout pa rin tayo. We are looking into, may scholarship na nga pero tumitigil pa. And because of the evaluation of the project, the scholarship program that we've been implementing for these public school teachers, what we did, yung scholarship scheme na pinrovide natin, we also integrated the technology grant. Lahat ng scholars, binigyan namin ng laptop. Binigyan ng yung ganun, tawag doon, yung para makakonect sila sa internet. So may mga mekanismo na ganon. And again, Section 18 of RA 10650, pwede natin gamitin so we can further study the scholarship mechanism that we are giving to financially deserving students of UPOU. Hindi maging dahilan dapat yung kahirapan. Kaya nga openness, equity. So marami tayong pwedeng gawin sa side ng universidad para matulungan natin yung mga estudyante na yon. And again, I've been doing that, and I hope that we can continue doing it for our students.
Thank you, sir.
So ito pong issue ng ating financially challenge. Umaandar naman yung ating ginagawa ngayong mga present initiatives, yung ating mga scholarships, grants, yung ating mga... Meron din other ways by which we can expand yung ating services sa mga financially disadvantaged. Paano natin gagawin to? Kasi maraming mga korporasyon ngayon, mga lalaking korporasyon, ang sabi nila, kung kami ay magbibigay ng scholarship, syempre bibigay namin to dun sa mga universities na kaalyado namin. Tama naman sila dun. So, magbibigay tayo ng offer. Second, yung itong mga malalaking korporasyon, meron na rin sila mga universities outside Metro Manila sa mga probinsya. Kaya ang ating approach sa kanila is mag-joint venture tayo. In other words, bibigyan ka namin, tutulungan ka namin sa iyong distance education. Kasi indirectly, makakatulong tayo dito sa mga financially disadvantaged, lalo dun sa mga probinsyang maraming mahihirap. Okay. Yung staff hiring, ganun din po ang sitwasyon nun. Mahirap ang item ngayon. So, katulad ng ibang mga universities, kumukuha sila ng mga tinatawag na affiliate part-time or teaching associates and so forth and so on. Ganun din, pag tayo makipag-alyansya sa ibang university, yung kanilang mga qualified, syempre tayo magde-determine ng standards, kukunin natin sila, i-deploy natin sila para sumama dito sa ating mga programa. Pangatlo, team. Sabi ni Mel, meron siyang ibang plano sa buhay. Paano kung alokin ko siya? Paano kung sabihin ko sa kanya, pag ako ang napili, siya ang aking magiging kasama dito sa ating trabaho?
Gusto mo sagutin ko?
Hindi pwede.
But ladies and gentlemen, I'm not telling this para lang para maging masaya syempre ang ating usapan ngayon. Kasi nakita niyo naman kung ano din ang iniisip ni Mel. Halos pareho din sa aking iniisip. So, ba't pa ako hahanap ng iba na magpapatuloy nitong journey natin? Kung itong taong sa tabi ko ay gustong teamwork kaming dalawa. Ngayon, doon sa iba, syempre, Chancellor Gigi, kailangan ko pang kilalanin yung iba, di ba? Lalo na yung mga hindi ko pa nakatrabaho. So, gagawa tayo ng search process consultation. But definitely, hindi naman ako naniniwala na chop ka agad, hindi ba? Kaya kasi tayo, disciple po tayo ng continuity. Of course, during the consultation sa inyo later on, makakasuggest kayo kung sino sa tingin nyo rin ang dapat mabigyan ng oportunidad para sumama sa leadership team nitong university.
Thank you. Okay, Bobby, yes.
Thank you. So for this last set of questions, we've clumped together those that we consider personal or directed to a particular nominee. So I'll be doing this alphabetically again. So Ma'am Mel, yes. Here's
So
your...
this is for Ma'am Mel, this
Yes,
question. Okay.
Dean Mel. In the period of being the incumbent dean, we understand that you gained collegial relationships or friendships with your UPOU colleagues, UPOU staff, or co-members of your present and past projects. If you will be elected chancellor, how will you ensure that special treatment or favor given them will not be abused? Here's a follow-up question. What will be your role, the role of your special circle of friends when appointed as Chancellor of the university? Will they be assigned in key positions of your administration? That's for Dean Mel, okay? This is for Doc Louis. Should she answer
Let's
this
just
already?
listen to both sets.
Yeah. For Doc Louis, I have four
Tapos yung
questions.
sequence ng response, yung si Dean Mel muna
Ganun din,
respond. Then,
yes.
okay.
So 4 questions for Doc Louis. First is, we understand that you've been VCFA before. So the question is, why did you leave UPOU? The second is, these are not my questions, okay? Compare UPOU then when you were Vice Chancellor and now, okay? Third, how will you bring in your experience and consultancies in helping us?
Sorry, I missed the second question.
The
Can you
second
just...
is compare UPOU then when you were Vice Chancellor of
Okay.
Finance and Administration and the current UPOU. Uh, Third, how will you bring in your experience and consultancies in helping us? And lastly, will you give positions to the people behind your nomination? Who are they? I think you've mentioned one already. And what positions will you give them? Thank you.
I love the questions. Anyway,
Galing ah.
oo. Siguro simula na, actually kaya ko gusto sagutin kanina, baka malimutan ko yung mga tanong eh. So if ever may malimutan ako, pakiulit na lang. Ang natandaan ko, yung may special circle of friends. They will remain to be my friends. Kasi friends mo nga sila eh. And the reason why I was able to establish friendship with them, actually hindi ko alam kung yung friends na nasa isip ko ay friends din na yung mga friends ko na nasa isip ninyo. Hindi ko alam. Na yung, kung ang, alam mo yon yung, kung ang aking mga kaibigan, ay yun din yung alam ninyo na mga kaibigan ko. Because yung mga kaibigan ko dito sa universidad, you rarely see us together in this university. So maaari yung patingin ninyo ay mga kaibigan ko, ay hindi sila. Di ba? Maaari hindi baka magkaiba yung mga taong tinutukoy natin. Kasi yung mga kino-consider ko na kaibigan ko, ay bihira nyo akong makita na kasama sila dito sa universidad na ito. Okay, will they play a special role? Whoever they are. Nakita niyo ako na maging director ng OSA, nakita niyo ako na naging registrar, at nakita niyo ako na maging dean. Meron po ba akong dinilang staff? Nung nag-assume ako ng mga positions na yon. Meron ba?
Hindi yan rhetorical question, sorry. We will treat it as a
Kayo
rhetorical
mismo.
question
Okay,
in the interest
yes.
of time. Okay?
In the interest of time.
No one will
Oh.
answer these questions.
Isipin nyo lang, especially yung nagtanong ha, I mean, we don't know kung sino nagtanong na yon. Oo. Ano yung unang question, Bobby? Can I, yung collegial something, may una kang question eh, kung sila ba ay, yun na ba,
that's
was
the
I
same
able to
question.
answer? Okay.
Opo, yes,
Okay.
sir.
So yun siguro yung ano ko na, siguro yung track record ko. Oh.
Toilet break.
Toilet
Okay.
break. So if I may continue in the interest of time also. Kasi hindi naman kailangan marinig ni Sir Louie yung sagot ko. I mean, ang kailangan makarinig yung nagtanong, di ba? And I hope the persons so yun yung sa akin na they will, my special friends will play a special role in my life, in my personal life, but not in my professional life. I was able to really mapaghiwalayin yung dalawa. Ganon. If ever na ano. At ang track record ko bilang administrator ng universidad na to ay hindi ako nagdala kung paborito ko man, pine-favor ko man, etc. Nagpunta ko sa registrar's office, sino ang staff ng registrar's office? I worked with them. Okay. Nagpunta ako sa dean's office, sino mga staff ng dean's office? I worked with them. If I may say so, si Emily Amulosa, na kilala natin, na loyalist ni Alexander Flor, andyan pa rin. And I am working closely with Ems Amulosa. I trusted her with the projects, with office administration, etc. Yung mga tinitingnan yung mga paborito ko, kung talagang yung mga pine-favor ko, tingnan ninyo ang lineup ng staff ko sa mga projects ko. Tingnan ninyo, sino yung mga kasama ko sa projects? In the different projects that I am handling now. Yung nasa isip ninyo ng mga paborito ko, nakikita nyo ba sila sa lahat ng projects ko? If they are my favorites, okay? If they are my favorites and I am the project leader, I have the final decision whom to place in these projects. Favorite lahat. Favorite lahat. 'Di ba? Kasi depende kung ano ang pwede ninyong gawin doon sa ginagawa ko. And you will be included in those. Magiging paborito ko kayo. Kasi I will be working with you. Ganon.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, si Nenet. Oh, may sabi na si Nenet. So yun lang siguro. I mean, magkakakilala tayo and you can I mean, I don't have to speak. You can look at how I do things, how I've done things. So you can somehow predict how I will do things in the event that I will be chosen as the next chancellor. Wala pa si ano
Okay,
eh.
thank you. Tumigil ka. Baka kasi magsimula ka ng sentence tapos hindi mo matigil dahil you're in let's just wait a minute or two. But that was just to kung ano yung that Bobby's is the last set of questions to be read, no? And then one more question from the floor kung meron. Kung wala, then we will adjourn. So sir, you will now I don't know. I don't think so. Naipasok na, nabasa na ni Joanne. Okay, sir. Sorry.
Bakit ako umalis? Yung aking mga kasamahan dito, alam nila na nagkasakit ako. In fact, ang tawag sa sakit ko, dyspepsia. Wala pong cure yun. Na ba't ako nagkasakit? Kasi gusto kong i-prove sa aking mga kasamahan noon na kaya ko mag-raise ng pera. Of course, kasama ko si Chancellor Tina Padolina. Kasi, hindi pa sumisikat yung araw, bumabiyahe na kami. Kasi kailangan nandun na kami sa pintuan ng mga kongresista bago sila dumating at bago pumunta yung staff. Ito pa yung tinatawag na salesmanship. Gusto kong i-prove. Bata pa ako noon. Sabi ko, ayaw kong sabihin at the end of the day na wala akong nagawa para sa OU. So, yun ang rason. At sabi ng doktor, kung gusto mo matay, ituloy mo yung trabaho mo or mag-relax ka muna. So, yun ang sinabi sa akin. Yun. Pero hindi ako namatay.
Umalis lang siya.
Pero during that time, patuloy-tuloy kasi, of course, hindi ko na dapat sabihin ito. Pero alam mo na tayo mga boys, kasi gusto natin magkakasama pa rin tayo kahit sa labas ng opisina, doon kami pumupunta sa bahay ni Chancellor Lex. Gatas ang aking iniinom. Ganun talaga kasi may healing process yun. Okay, anyway, that's outside the, So then and now, yeah, kasi nandun lang kami sa isang maliit na kwarto Yun ang open yun nung araw. Kasi wala naman akong data. Hindi ko man nakausap yung si Jean, yung ating Vice Chair for Finance and Administration kung ano na ang net worth ng ating eskwelahan ngayon. So wala akong masasabi kung how much it grew. Pero ang aking feeling, with all of this in place, yung mga pinaghirapan ni Chancellor Gigi saka ni Chancellor Lex, gigantic na ang leap ng OpenU. At nakakatuwa na yung maliit na buto na inumpisahan ngayon, lumago na. Kaya ang challenge nga, patuloy pa itong palaguin. So, yun ang quick answer ko dyan sa then and now. Of course, I'm sure tatanungin nyo, paano naman yung mga tao nung araw? Kasi nung araw, ganun ang challenge. Kailan mabigyan ng item yung ating mga tao. Kailan mabigyan ng tenure, ganun. Yun na rin ang issue noon. O kahit paano naman, nakapag-produce naman the hard way. The hard way, nakakuha naman tayo. Pero it's not easy. So ngayon, hindi ko rin alam kung ano na ang gap. So may data naman dyan at makikita natin para mabigyan natin ng scientific comparison yun. Consultancy experience, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, kung si Chancellor Mela magiging Chancellor ng OpenU, yung aking experience, tutulungan ko siya. Kasi sa atin naman itong university nito In fact, ngayon, meron nang nagpapagawa ng technical assistance project. Since wala naman akong personality humarap dito sa mga prospective customers nito, gusto kong i-tie up dun sa aming ginagawa ngayon sa entrepreneurship. So maraming pagkakataon na yung ating karanasan at ating network dito sa tinatawag ng mga consulting services ay makakatulong para sa advancement ng ating eskwelahan. Positions of people who nominated you. Of course, hindi ko naman madi-deny ito. Kasi nung magkasama kami ni Chancellor Gigi, it never existed. Until tumawag sa akin si Aser Javier. Sabi ni Aser, pare, ano kaya, i-nominate kita? Sabi ko, Aser, are you joking or are you serious? Siyempre, yung ngiti naman ni Aser, ngiti namang maginoo. So sabi ko, and then sabi niya, by the way, Louie, may deadline ito. Anong deadline? Kailangan by December 1. Ako sabi ko,
November 26.
oo, kailangan magawa mo to lahat. Alam niyo, mahirap talaga yan. Ngayon, si Aser ba magkakaroon ng posisyon dito
Hindi, wala. Hindi siya magkakaroon ng position doon. Pati si Acer ba ay susuporta sa atin? Sabi niya sa akin, susuporta daw siya doon sa kanyang mga LGU projects kasi marami daw yon according to him. So yun ang kanyang commitment. Yun ang sinabi sa akin ni Acer. At yung iba, I think, yung ating mga fellow alumni dito sa UPLB, eh yun, may mga trabaho yun. Mga yun. So hindi sila interesado magkaroon ng posisyon dito. Siguro the best, isisingilin natin sila kung anong mga advice ang mabibigay nila sa atin or advice ng mga network nila. Tayo dapat ang makinabang dun sa mga taong gustong tumulong sa atin.
Thank you. Okay, one last question from the floor, if any. Yes, Assistant Professor Charis Reyes.
I believe the question is for both of the nominees. I believe both of you have different commitments sa labas. May projects, may mga trabaho sa labas. Ano yung commitment nyo sa oras sa pagiging chancellor? Because I believe the position is a full-time position. You really have to look after the university, the welfare of every aspect of the university. How much time can you commit for the university? And if something happens, ano yung kaya nyong i-give up sa mga hawak nyo ngayon? Thank you.
Okay. Sir, yes. Kasi kayo huling nagsalita.
Actually, madali kong sagutin yan kasi wala naman talaga akong ginagawa ngayon na of course kasi nasa pipeline eh. May mga proposals itong mga consulting firms na sinama ang pangalan ko. Totoo yun. Pero hindi ko na magagawa yun pag tayo nandito na kasi 24/7 itong trabaho nito eh. Yung listahan na pinakita ko sa inyo kanina ay napaka-gigantic na yung trabaho. So hindi pwedeng mag-sideline sa ibang mga gawain. Dapat nakafocus lang dito. At yun ang makukommit ko sa inyo. Dahil wala man talaga akong dapat i-give up except yung mga consultancy jobs sa pipeline. Ngayon, siyempre, ang iba doon, i-influensya natin na magkaroon sila ng component sa ating agenda, sa ating open and distance education.
Yes, that's it. That's the question. Yes, sir. Thank you. Siguro fortunately for me, halos lahat ng engagement ko ngayon na institutionalize. They are now considered as projects of UPOU. In the past, if there were offers of consultancy sa akin, ang tanong ko sa kanila, pwede ko bang gawing project yan sa UPOU? I can still deliver the kind of expertise that you want me to give, but it has to be institutionalized. That way, hindi lang ako ang kinuha nyo. It's the whole university which will give credibility to the project that we are collaborating. I mean, kanina minention ni Professor Arinto kung ano yung mga projects na yun. If ever there are other projects that I am doing outside of which, ang nasa isip ko lang ngayon is the social market, yung I'm being requested by the Unilab, yes. Kahit ngayon nakikinabang ang OU eh. Sino sa inyo nakakatanggap ng mga vitamins pag nagba-bloodletting tayo? Yun yung kapalit nung binibigay ko sa kanilang serbisyo. Na pag may anong OU, pwede bang tulungan natin ang OU? Ganyan. So, wala akong i-give up. Because all the other requests na binibigay sa akin ngayon na hindi kasama doon sa kasalukuyan kong ginagawa sa mga projects, ang tinitingnan ko, will they fit my schedule at UPOU? So laging ganon, laging ganon. May bibigay ba akong oras sa inyo? Kung meron, okay. Just like yung pinaka-recent, yung National Library. Diba? Yun yung pinaka-recent na hiningi sa akin eh. National Library, lumapit sa akin. Sabi ko, wala akong alam tungkol sa library. Ang alam ko lang gumamit. Sabi nila, hindi naman, sabi ng director na namatay na. Sabi niya, hindi naman yun ang kailangan ko sa iyo. Ang kailangan ko sa iyo yung expertise mo on distance e-learning because that's the kind of training that we will give to the ASEAN public libraries. So then I said, okay, but this is my schedule, you will have to fit. If you really want to get me, ito yung schedule na pwede kong ibigay sa inyo. So that has always been the case with regard to outside engagements. So first thing, kung po pwedeng gawing institutional, dinadala ko either sa university or sa foundation. You know. So, UNICEF, PLDT, SMART, all those people. Na ang una, pwede ka bang kuhanin as consultant? No.
we make it an institutional arrangement. Yung iba, fit into my schedule sa university. Siyempre, may kasamang personal life yon. May mga apo ko na inaalagaan.
Okay, thank you very much. That was our last question for this forum, and we are 40. It's now 12:45. Well past our lunchtime. We wish everybody a very good lunch. Please remember our next date. It's December 8th, 2015. That's Tuesday next week from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. That's the schedule of interviews with UPOU constituents here at the headquarters. We will be at Oblation Hall. You can sign up for that if you wish to be interviewed individually or in small groups. Okay? Any questions? Alright. Kung wala na po, tayo pong lahat ay mananghalian. Maraming salamat po sa ating nominees.